Welcome to this explainer. Okay, today we're shrinking right down to the microscopic level. We're going to zoom deep inside your bloodstream to uncover how something as simple as common household spices can literally, biologically upgrade your intense training sessions. If you're hunting for that edge, the secret might not actually be sitting in some expensive supplement tub. It might just be chilling in your kitchen cabinet.
I know, it sounds totally crazy. But to really grasp why a spicy meal could genuinely be the ultimate pre-workout, we've got to look way past the sweat and the flexing muscles, right down to the microscopic level. We're going to visualize exactly what happens to your anatomy when you introduce these powerful natural compounds.
So here's our roadmap for today. 1. The microvascular highway system. 2. Exercise and blood flow demand. 3. Capsaicin, the TRV1 trigger. 4. Cinnamon and nitric oxide. 5. Ginger, garlic, and endurance. And finally, 6. The ultimate performance payoff. Let's jump in.
All right, section 1, the microvascular highway system, the body's transit system. Let's get right into the anatomy of where all this magic actually happens.
So, microcirculation. It's essentially this vast, complex network of arterioles, capillaries, and venules supplying your muscle fibers. And here's why they are absolutely critical. These tiny, tiny vessels dictate a massive 80% of your body's blood pressure drops. They are the ultimate regulators of exactly how nutrients and oxygen reach your cells.
You can kind of think of your arterioles as floodgates, right? And the smooth muscle cells wrapped around them, they're basically the bouncers. These bouncers take cues from your sympathetic nerve fibers to either dilate or constrict. And because of the Hagen-Poiseuille law, which relates to vessel radius, even a microscopic, tiny little change in how wide these vessels are drastically alters how much nutrient-rich blood floods into your working muscles.
Section 2, exercise and blood flow demands. Let's take a look at what actually happens to this internal highway system when we introduce some really heavy physical training. Picture this. You're in the middle of a brutal workout. Your muscles are generating immense metabolic heat and fatigue. Bam, those signals hit your hypothalamus, creating this desperate biological demand to widen those blood vessels. That's vasodilation, which you absolutely need to clear out waste and deliver fresh oxygen. But wait, at the exact same time, your body is releasing sympathetic stress hormones that are actively trying to constrict them. It's basically a microscopic tug of war happening inside you.
Moving to section 3, capsaicin, the TRPV1 trigger. Time to talk about the heat compound. This brings us to our very first biohacking tool.
We're talking about capsaicin, the active heat compound in chili peppers. When this stuff binds to the TRPV1 receptors in your arteries, it triggers an incredible biological cascade. First, it ramps up the calcium ion release in the sarcoplasmic reticulum, which alters your actin-myosin interactions. But the absolute coolest part? It actually fights off the body's alpha-adrenergic signals. Those are the signals trying to constrict your blood vessels. It effectively forces those smooth muscle bouncers we talked about earlier to just relax and open the doors.
Just think about the sheer contrast here. On one side, you have resting arterioles, high vascular resistance, constricted smooth muscles, restricted nutrient flow. But on the flip side, spice-optimized arterioles. These guys are flooded with nitric oxide. They are completely dilated, bypassing that usual exercise constriction, keeping the floodgates wide open for absolute maximum nutrient and oxygen delivery. It is a total game changer.
So what's the actual real-world payoff of this biological hack? Well, meta-analysis data tracking muscular endurance proves that ingesting just a 12 milligram dose of capsaicin before exercise directly enhances performance. It literally delays muscular failure across multiple sets, while simultaneously reducing perceived exertion. So you are pushing harder, but it somehow feels easier. Wild, right?
All right, section 4, cinnamon and nitric oxide. Let's talk about vascular unlocking. We're moving from the spicy heat of chili peppers straight into your baking cabinet. Cinnamon isn't just for oatmeal, guys. It's packed with powerful active compounds like cinnamaldehyde and eugenol, and these directly crank up your body's bioavailability of nitric oxide, which is pretty much the ultimate chemical key to unlocking and widening those blood vessels for optimal flow.
This rapid blood flow translates directly to real performance metrics. By lowering that vascular resistance, cinnamon actually increases your VO2 max. It clears out lactic acid so much faster, dropping post-exercise lactate levels by nearly 2 millimoles per liter. It even upgrades you at the genetic level.
improving how your mitochondria generate ATP energy via the PGC1 alpha pathway. It's doing serious work behind the scenes. That brings us to Section 5, ginger, garlic, and endurance. Let's look at that systemic endurance boost and expand this biohacker spice rock just a little bit more. Mapping out these distinct active compounds reveals what is basically a full-spectrum vascular upgrade. Just think about it. From chili's capsaicin opposing vessel contraction, to cinnamon cinnamaldehyde boosting nitric oxide, to gingerol and ginger actually improving your blood's oxygen-carrying capacity. And then there's garlic extract, physically reducing blood pressure and LDL cholesterol. Each one is a specific molecular trigger, fine-tuning a different part of your metabolic engine. Let's zero in on garlic for a second. An incredible study on hypertensive obese men showed that combining regular aerobic exercise with a daily 6-gram dose of garlic extract significantly reduced body fat, dropped systolic blood pressure, and slashed harmful LDL cholesterol. It is physically remodeling the cardiovascular environment. I mean, sure, you might end up with some serious garlic breath, but hey, your arteries are definitely going to thank you. And what about ginger? Well, 5.04. Think about that number for a second. 5.04 is the exact point increase in cardiovascular endurance scores seen in futsal athletes who simply consumed a ginger drink. By acting as a completely natural vasodilator, ginger's active compounds translated directly into measurable stamina, right there on the court. No way around it, the results are real. And finally, Section 6, the ultimate performance payoff. We're zooming back out from the microscopic level now to synthesize all these games and see what this actually means for your daily routine. Okay, so the absolute crucial takeaway here is this. By utilizing these specific household spices, you're directly and chemically manipulating your microcirculation. You are deliberately bypassing the body's standard vascular resistance. And by doing that, you're enhancing blood flow to deliver way more oxygen and clearing out fatigue-inducing metabolic waste way faster than your body naturally would. The end result? Much lower perceived exertion and significantly higher muscular endurance.
And the science backs this up perfectly. There's this concept called functional sympatholysis. Now, that's really just a fancy scientific way of saying you are successfully overriding your nervous system's hardwired command to constrict your blood vessels during stress. And overriding that system, that is exactly how you manage to push out that final, agonizing rep or run that extra mile when you thought you were totally done.
So here's the big question to leave you with. Knowing that your own kitchen cabinet holds the precise molecular keys to overriding your body's natural fatigue limits and unlocking your microvascular floodgates, how are you going to fuel your next intense workout? Are you just going to settle for standard vascular resistance, or are you ready to spice optimize your anatomy? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer as we took a deep dive right into your bloodstream. Catch you next time and keep exploring the science of your performance.